Complete domination. That is the only way to describe what went down in Pittsburgh this weekend. If you thought the Steel Curtain was going to be the story, you were looking at the wrong sideline. The Houston Texans didn't just beat the Steelers, they absolutely suffocated them. We're talking about a 30-6 blowout that sent the home crowd packing early and extended Pittsburgh's playoff misery. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are breaking down the wildcard matchup that turned into a defensive masterclass. We've got Aaron Rodgers running for his life, Stroud staying cool as ice, and a Texans defense that just put the rest of the AFC on notice. Let's get into it. Coming into this game, the narrative was heavy on the quarterbacks. You had the veteran legend, Aaron Rodgers, trying to make a run with Pittsburgh versus the young superstar Stroud. But the real story? It was physical. It was gritty. It was an old-school defensive struggle, at least for the first 3 quarters. It felt like every time you looked up, bodies were colliding. The first half was incredibly tight. Houston went into the locker room up 7-6, thanks to a beautiful connection from Stroud to Christian Kirk. But honestly, it felt like anyone's game at that point. It was tense. It was one of those games where one mistake could flip everything. And speaking of mistakes, let's talk about the fourth quarter, because that is where the wheels completely fell off for Pittsburgh. Early in the fourth, the Steelers are trying to mount a comeback. Rodgers drops back, and boom! The pocket collapses. The Texans get home, the ball pops out, and there is big Sheldon Rankins. He scoops it up and rumbles into the end zone. That play right there, that was the knockout blow. Even though there was plenty of time left on the clock, you could feel the air leave the stadium. It went from a nail-biter to a feeling of impending doom for Steelers fans. And give credit where it's due. DeMeco Ryans had this unit ready. They sacked Rodgers 4 times. Rankins himself had a sack and a half. They were living in the backfield. Rodgers had 0 time to process his reads, and when he did have a second, the receivers weren't helping him out. We saw drops from DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, just a completely out-of-sync performance from that offense. Let's look at the numbers for Pittsburgh because they are ugly. The Steelers mustered up just 175 total yards of offense. That is unheard of in a playoff game in the modern NFL. They scored 0 points in the second half. In fact, they got outscored 23-0 in the fourth quarter alone. The fans let them hear it too. The boos were raining down at Acrisure Stadium, and you can't really blame them. This loss extends the Steelers' playoff losing streak to 7 games. 7! That is a tough pill to swallow for a franchise with that much history. You have to wonder what this means for Rodgers. He looked frustrated. He was getting hit constantly. Passes were getting batted down at the line. It was a nightmare scenario. Now let's flip it over to Houston. Stroud wasn't perfect, but he was efficient and made the plays that mattered. He finished 21 of 32 for 250 yards and a touchdown. He didn't turn the ball over in critical spots, even though the team had 3 turnovers total between the first half and the third quarter. But the guy I really want to highlight is Woody Marks. This rookie stepped up in a massive way. He rushed for 100 yards for the first time in his career in a playoff game on the road. He punched in a touchdown late to basically seal the deal. When you have a running back who can close out a game like that, it takes so much pressure off your quarterback. And just for good measure, Calen Bullock snags an interception late and takes it to the house for another defensive touchdown. It was just an avalanche of scoring. This was a historic night for Houston. This was the franchise's first ever road playoff victory. Think about that. All the years of struggle, the rebuilds, to go into a hostile environment like Pittsburgh and win by 24 points, that is a culture-changing win. So, what is next? The road doesn't get any easier. Houston is heading up north to Foxborough. They've got a date with the New England Patriots in the AFC Divisional Round. If the Texans' defense plays like this, creating turnovers, scoring points, and getting pressure with 4 rushers, they are going to be a nightmare for New England. But for now, Texans fans, enjoy this one. You didn't just win, you made a statement. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Was this more about the Texans' dominance or the Steelers' collapse? And do you think Houston has enough firepower to take down the Patriots next week? Let me know your score predictions below. If you enjoyed the recap, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more playoff coverage as we march toward the Super Bowl. I'll catch you guys in the next video.